I'm talking about Wagner, private military company, and its presence and his leader's presence in Belarus. Is it a very serious issue that requires a tough response from NATO? It was stated by Polish President Andrzej Duda. Duda said that this is one of the main issues that he hopes NATO leaders will discuss at the Vilnius summit in July. Duda thinks that the Wagner Group staying in Belarus needs certain decisions. It is difficult to say whether they will be adopted during the upcoming Vilnius summit because it is a rather complicated process, but he hopes that we will discuss it. And as well, Lithuanian President Gitanas Nausėda warns that NATO will have to strengthen its eastern flank in Belarus, except Wagner leader Evgeny Prigozhin. Here's his quote: "If Prigozhin or part of the Wagner Group ends up in Belarus with incomprehensible plans and incomprehensible intentions, it will only mean that we need to further strengthen the security of our eastern borders." And I want to ask you, from what is said, our position of Ukrainian president, of Ukrainian government is very sharp. So no compromises towards NATO acceptance of Ukraine. So this summit in Vilnius and this situation of Prigozhin and Wagner Group in Belarus and the presence of nuclear weapon, hypothetically in Belarus, will it change the attitude of the countries that are doubting of given the status to Ukraine?
Macron today morning had a message, I think like mostly to Ukrainians, but also like for NATO countries, and that we have to resolve a future of Ukraine in NATO and give them a tool to achieve that. So like I think that is a good message, but like I can't observe deadlines. So like maybe like next century, maybe like 2 centuries, and because like I see like how Europe may manipulate with candidacy like of Balkan countries. So like 20 years after, like who accept Croatia become a member of EU? Like nobody. But that is an issue, and they may come to you and say like, "Oh, this table is gray, but we talk about white table, so like that is a reason." And then you say like, "But we may change the table." Yes, of course, you have 5 years to change this table.
But that was
the same may happen with NATO, and that is like how to play with the Western bureaucracy. And I think Ukraine have to be bold and strong and on conversation. It's like, guys, like we are fighting, we are dying, trying to protect not only our homes, but trying to protect also your homes. And that is a message. And because like when you are sitting and making like many strategies and like NATO changes strategy against Russia, NATO changes strategy against China, NATO changes strategy against nuclear weapon, NATO changes strategy in hybrid war and conventional war. So okay, you change the 5 strategies, and we lost like 100,000 of people. So what is the difference? You're sitting in a very comfortable offices and they're like thinking about what to do like in potential future. But we are creating this future. We are defending Europe, we are defending NATO. And when NATO, I remember that days I wrote on my YouTube and the TV channel, in my YouTube channel, like when NATO asked Ukraine unofficially to say that the missile on Polish side was Ukrainian. I talked in a very early moment. They said, no, that Russia strike to Poland, but not NATO afraid. And they asked Ukraine, they begging Ukraine, they say, hey guys, just support us. Okay. Then a few weeks ago, that happened in Romania. What happened? Then in Moldova. So crazy Ukrainians missiles which strike in all the neighbors. That is stupid. So like they ask us to support them. So now we are asking them to support us. And that is not the issue of Turkey and or Hungary. And that is the countries which all the time against us. But okay, if 30 countries say the yes for us, we may talk with to these countries personally and to find their yes in our negotiation. And
Is it it's possible?
more than convinced.
Okay.
More than convinced if two countries say no, and we say like, just give us 2 weeks. 1 week for one country and another week for another country. This war is not about Ukraine. This war is the answer to the question, in which century we will live under democracy or under dictatorship, in which system we will live. So like that, you may choose in the Netherlands, in the like Germany, in the France, in the Spain, in UK, US, and any other countries, because now we are fighting for democracy. We are fighting for the rules which are so crony to them and also to us.
So from far away, it may look like it's a question of survival of Ukraine and Ukrainian nations. But on the other hand, having heard the president of Lithuania and Poland and Estonia and all the neighboring countries that have a mutual border with Russian Federation, they do understand the threat to their countries. But the main question you just pointed, if Alliance and the countries of Western European countries, they really see primarily the importance of Ukraine in NATO for their security, but not NATO for Ukraine for our security. Do you see that their view of it is changing?
I see more horrible plan. If they betray us, Ukrainian government and president will lose their ratings, because like we're fighting for Europe, we are fighting for NATO, we are fighting for Ukraine. And if they betray us, it's like no NATO, no EU, so like you're an independent country, like just live and fight and okay. So Russia may change the government in like, I think in few decades, in nearest like 10, 15 years. And that European weapons will back to Europe, but with the Russian officers. Because like, is it possible that Yanukovych may back? Yes, if we lose NATO and Europe, yes. And or like some communist party or any other like political power from Russia. That's possible. The cope is possible. And like, if you are not give us a hand, so Russia may come here. And that is the answer. Like, if you are still have an attitude to Ukraine as a gray zone among your like very wealthy, rich, and so handsome countries on the West, gray zone in Ukraine, and ugly Russia on the East. So like you will receive Russia on your territory in the nearest 10 years. But if you wanted to protect you from China, because the next war, the next global real war will be among West and China. Russia is a mess. Russia is like, as we mentioned, Lukashenko is a Padawan on a Putin yard. So Russia is a Padawan of yard of China. So like, if you wanted to fight and be strong against China, Russia have to be a gray zone among West and China. That is the answer. That is a political future of Russia. So like that where we have to be concentrated. So that is the answer not only for Ukraine, that is the answer for West and NATO.
And Western countries should not forget that Russian president never forgive nobody, as we can see from the stories of the people who left the country with the secrets of Russian.
I think till the March of next year, you will say Russian president who? So like that
it's in our dreams.
He is weak. This current week show us that he is like weaker. And Russian empire is a myth. That is like what I mentioned Minister of Foreign Affairs of Italy. And said like the strong and united Russia is a myth. We believed on that, but now no.
But still, you remember how he said to his audience, so we will hit the traitors in the toilets.
They may hit each other. They have like
they are already hitting each other.
140 million people. They may hit each other like from early morning till the late night.
But
so
still
like
they have
God bless them and they give them a night.